because everybody has to go, I know Sabra has to go, I'm going to make it quick on the fourth night. Fourth night, we come in and sit. I was wearing a jean with this walking shoes and a very good clothes, sitting like this, and I put something behind me, one of these back support that it sits on the floor. When you sit on it, it holds your back. So I'm sitting on this, and before I drank, I said, I have to have intention. I said, what intention can I have? I said, ayahuasca, I want to know who I am. I want to know myself. Thank you. I drank. 15 minutes later or 20 minutes later, ayahuasca came in very flat. She showed me terme. Have you seen پادشاه terme? I don't know که ما خونمون داشته. Missing که we have one. My wife keeps it someplace. I remember when her mother was here, or when my mother comes here, or her father, sometimes for their praying things, they put it there. And he says, this is what you are. And I look, I ask, what else? And he says, that's what you're, nothing else. There's nothing there. I said, I want to know who I am. And then I realize my taste is not this terme. As you notice, my taste is almost like my wife's taste. We are a modern type of things. We don't have even terme. But Mother Ayahuasca, deep inside, looked and saw that this is me and there's nothing else. Why there's nothing else? Because 10 years I'm looking inside and saying, this is not garbage, this is not you. You're not your education. You're not, and while I'm doing that, I'm sitting and I see two guys to my left in a sitting position. And I look, there's no guys. Then I come back here. On the side of my eyes, I see these two guys there. And this guy who's in the front is offering me something. I said, we start having fun. He says, he didn't say anything. Both of these guys, there were two guys. The back guy didn't do anything. The front guy had this, it's like a flower, but something like a, it's white stuff inside, colombe, it's chunky here. And I said, is that for me? Give it to me. He pulled his hand back. I say, don't make me, because the seats I'm sitting, I don't want to jump. He goes back. I said, I tell you what, if you want to give it to me, give it to me. I'm not coming after it. As we're discussing this thing, I look at my shoes. It's not the same shoes. It's something on it like a clothes of the shaman. And as I'm looking at the shoes, the shaman clothes came in all the way to me, all the way, cover me all up. I said, hey, this looks good. Now I'm wearing a shaman clothes. I said, I like it. It looks good. And they said, okay, we want you here. We've been in Amazon for thousands of years. lately there is a flood of people coming into Amazon, and we spreading the message, and you fit in there. We want you here. I said, I cannot. I have to disappoint so many people before I can stay. I like to be here, but the commitment is beyond my control. They said, no, you gotta be here. And now I'm begging. I'm begging that I cannot. I honestly cannot. It's not only my wife. It's not only my daughters. There are so many people I have, is dependent. I cannot. They said, no, you have to. You need your commitment. So we didn't come to resolution, but they left me alone. I figured, okay, they left me alone. And we're done, nothing. Night was over. I didn't understand what it is. The next day, I visited the head of those shamans there. Say, this is what happened to me. He says, oh yeah, it happened before here. Did you get the flowers? I said, no. Oh. I didn't get it. He says, if you would have got it, you couldn't leave here. You have to be here. Oh my God. They try. So this is, but the shaman says, you don't have to be here. You can spread the message anywhere you are. I think the message is the word and understanding we have of our life, of the whole world, is not what is in our head. When I left the Peru, on the plane, I start to write the message. I figure, okay, I know what the problem is with my society because I'm part of the society. We think we understand love. Nobody don't understand love. We all think we understand love. And the love, everybody thinks differently. But what I'm going to explain what Rumi means by love. Rumi says, عشق‌هایی نه اون مصرعش درست نگفتم. عاشقی گر زین سر و گرزان سر است، عاقبت ما را بدان ره رهبر است. I decided love either this way or that way. Either way is going to guide us to get to the destination. So I start to write what Rumi means by ishq. What is ishq? I said ishq has some ingredient. You have to have this qualification to call it ishq. If it doesn't have this qualification, and I start to write what this qualification is. I wrote one is compassion. You have to have compassion. If you don't have compassion, you're not ashiq. You're not love. You don't have love. If you don't have compassion, you're not. I said, what is compassion? Could you explain what the compassion? Because everybody thinks they understand compassion. What is compassion? So the compassion is the ability to solve somebody else's problem to make him happy. That's what the compassion is. Now, and is a force within me that I can do that. Not everybody can do. If I can look at him and find out what is he's not happy about, and I can turn his unhappiness to a happiness, that's a compassion. What we call it mehrabani. That's mehrabani. Compassion, mehrabani. Okay. Now, if I want to have that power to make that, I have to know, I have to be able to turn the misery of someone into a happiness. So the first guy I have to practice myself. If I cannot change my misery to a happiness, I cannot make his misery to a happiness. So I have to be able to make my own misery, whatever misery I have, to a happiness. And then I'm able to make his misery to a happiness. And if I could make his misery to a happiness, automatically he recognizes he wants to be compassion. And it becomes universal. That is one ingredient. I don't want to go to the rest of the ingredient. There are, 3 others. But it opens up to a discussion. The minute I said compassion is this, no, because we get on the left side of the brain, the other guy said, no, I think this one is that too, we have to add this. This is just one, my own perception. Is not this is that, this is it, This is to the best of my ability. So I have a friend who teases his wife a lot. And they have a good relation. And whenever they come here, we visit, I said, do you think your wife would love what you're telling him? What you're telling her? He looked at me like this. I said, then why do you say that? If your wife doesn't like it, why do you? And I find out that lots of husband and wife, they tease one another without even knowing they don't like it, Tell me something that makes me happy rather than, bringing something that is, no, shuhi kardam. He says, I'm joking, What do you mean joking, We need to do that type of thing. So that, I'm going to leave it to any question you guys have because I know Sabra has to go. And
so what is it? You said 3 elements?
Okay.
One is compassion, the 3 others?
Okay, the others, one of them is universal, and I don't have my paper with me, and my concentration was not to, but I'll send you. I haven't finished it. I wrote the paper, and when I wrote the paper all the way to the end, my literature professor, when I was taking literature, told me, you have to rewrite it at least 20 times and read it to yourself 20 times. I have only read it twice, so I have 18 more times to read and get all the glitches out and send it, and then we work from there. So that is my message, is to spread the love. So, yeah. So, any questions? I'd be more than happy to.
The Ayahuasca treatment overall you had is 6 nights?
8 nights, but 7 nights we drank. 7 nights we drank, and the other night we didn't drink. And we had other, okay, now let me tell you a little bit about that 2 girls, the Israeli guy. The Israeli guy, he becomes my friend. He pulled me on the side, says, he called me Barry, let's go, I want to tell you what happened. We shared the experience, but he shared, before he shared to others, he shared with me, and he doesn't say to others most of the thing he experienced because he was full of experience. One night he comes into me, he says, not one night, day, we were sitting there, he says, I saw something. I said, what did you see? He says, the earth is the mother of the life. I said, oh, who told you that? He says, ayahuasca. He says, I said, who's the father if the earth is mother? He goes, ayahuasca told me son is the father. I said, how does sun becomes father? He says, sun makes the earth pregnant, and pregnant keep breathing life. And this is, I said, are you Mehri? He goes, what is Mehri? I said, this is the Mehri Iranian old ancient spiritual things that we were doing. That's why they said they worship the sun because of the father. You see, they were not a prophet type of thing. This is what we are. And I said, did you had this experience before in your life, or have you heard anything in this? He says, no. I said, do you know Moses? He says, I heard here and there, He said, because he was born Jewish. And I was so curious. I said, you were born there? He says, yes. I said, what about your father? Your father was born in Israel? He says, no, he immigrated from Russia, I think. I said, what about your mother? Your mother was born there? He goes, no. I said, where was your mother? He goes, my mother was court, And I said, wow, court, yeah. His mother was one of these Kurdish. So these are the so many things. Now, the lesbian girl that I had talked, she's a wonderful person. At the last day that we were living, close to living, we were guests of the local peoples, the Shipibo people. They put the feast for us on the lunch. They put something on the floor, just like we put in Iranian, we put sofre. Their sofre is a leaf of banana, which is 2 feet wide, 6 feet long. They put that in there, and they put all kinds of fish and this and that. But woman in one sofre, man in one sofre, but the food is the same. So we sit there and eat, and they sit there and eat. And this girl told me, she says, Barry, I tell you something. She didn't share this in experience with others. She probably hear me, I would say hi to Kat, because she told me, she says, Barry, for the first time in my life, when I sat with a woman, my woman feeling came to me. And she says, I said, did you like that feeling? She goes, it was wonderful in me. I never felt it before. And so this is the power of ayahuasca that does to others and so on. So this is, if you don't have any question, this conclude our...
And when you saw the vision of, Hakimatus,
yes.
and how did you know how they look like?
None of them were not the same, as you can see. Rumi and Hafez, you see some imaginary picture on some of these books. But I have not seen a good imaginary picture of Hakimatus. He was the first one up there, and he told me that that's how he is. He told me. He was laughing, happy. He jumped out of the frame of the picture. So he doesn't need to introduce, say, I'm so and so, or maybe he said so, but in his way that I understood.
So they look like.
Like a man, yes, man.
Like the dress that we see.
Hakimatus didn't have that, but others did. This, what they have in their head. We don't call it Ammame. It's called Molavi. Why we call Rumi Maulana? That's his name is. but sometimes we say Molavi. Molavi means that thing that they put around there. Hakimetus didn't have Molavi. He didn't have. He has a hair like us, but others, Hafiz and all that, I see with some Molavi. I don't want to call it Ammame because it's disgrace for this great man.
And then you said you also saw a religious figure at the
Yes, he didn't have Molavi either.
And who was he?
I think he was Hazrat Ali. I think. And he was not happy of me.
He's not happy for you?
He was not happy with me.
I mean, he was angry at you?
No, he was not. He was not angry to show me he was angry, but he was not the way he was looking in such a way that he's not happy. I didn't do a good job for him or so. He just didn't care for me. I don't know.
And how did he look like? He didn't have, you said he didn't have.
No, he didn't have any turban or anything, just like a real man. It showed in a brown color, it was not black or green or anything, brownish color.
So you knew who they were without.
Yes, because Mother Ayahuasca says, why do you want to see me? This is the one you want to see is right here. It keeps coming in, and for instance, I don't know whether I saw Jami or not, Abdul Rahman Jami, who's the first one who discovered the human can be made in the laboratory tubes. They make a human by combining the. In a tube, they make a baby, and then they put it in
IVF.
What?
IVF.
IVF is in, yeah. So he's Abdurrahman Jami is the first one in the world, I think, because like before we get the airplane, we had so many literature that like Kekawus flew to the air, the Namrud flew to the air, all of that. But who thought that the human can be made in a laboratory things is Abdurrahman Jami. But he was one of among those. He was coming up. So
I just have just one comment.
Sure.
When you talked about Meikhane and like a wine house that
Yes.
Ahmed is talking
Yes.
about, and you saw that Maluka looked like a
Yes.
Meikhane, I was thinking maybe because I have heard that May in our literature like refers to like meditation.
Yes.
So I was thinking maybe it also refers to like ayahuasca or that.
Absolutely.
whatever is that.
Absolutely. Now, what the Iranian, I think, the Ain Mehri, it was not ayahuasca. What I saw is not native to our that place in the country, in the earth. It needs. This doesn't grow everywhere. It grows in Hawaii or in Amazon jungle. You need forest, and we didn't have. To my understanding, we didn't have forest there, so it should have been mushroom, some sort of the magic mushroom. But yes. Yeah, it should be there.
So, what happened to whom?
None of our thinker were doing the home. The only thing that we have something close to it, which I think it might have been criticized, is called Dough Wahdat, which every time we talk in Dough Wahdat, we laugh. This because they said it was hashish they make dough. But I don't believe our thinker, our great man, would sit and put the hashish inside the yogurt and say, let's have this as a. I think same as now, because whoever takes LSD, like CIA was the first who invested in research of LSD because it's a psychedelic drug. They want to control the mass media and they want to add that to the drink of the people and tell them do whatever they want to. They spend most money in this area than anything else. And to my understanding is when Einstein died, they find trace of LSD in his autopsy. So it's not that this was not known to people, but now they made it illegal because I don't know why, but people say this is taboo. And because I don't know what they were drinking or thinking, they call it dugh wahdat or something. But in our literature, I could not find anything close to it, except whom that was used in their religious ceremony.
Do you think Rumi or Shams had something like ayahuasca?
No. They have a teaching. I had followed their teaching. It did show me. I explained to you the other one in one of my clips. I explained to her also when it happened. Once it happened, almost like 7-8 years ago, when I was meditating the way Rumi was saying, and suddenly the thought left me. And I got scared. I was read before that if that happened, don't get scared. But I got scared. And I felt oneness with the nature. Almost, I can tell you, whoever used these psychedelic things, they feel that. They feel with the nature. This San Pedro, which is some sort of cactus things, is a juice of the cactus, is a different type of cactus, is a 12 hours ceremony. You go 8 in the morning to 8 at night, and you walk on a nature and so on. You feel part of nature. You are part of nature because you are part of nature. We're not separated. Our left brain makes a separation. So with the Rumi things, I felt it that way. Now, as we are one, once I explained it the other day, you all know, but maybe others don't know. In my head, I have a table. In that table, in my head, every person has a place based on education, based on the economic, based on the social status, and everybody has a place in that table. Now, I see a new person walking there, I know exactly where it fits on my tables. You might have one. I'm not saying you don't. You all might have one of these tables that I have in my head. Now, at the border of Mexico border, when I was coming to America, I think 4 or 5 years ago, I was sitting and there was, the beggar would come in, the fruit seller would come in, somebody would come in and say, buy a Coke, the driver is there, the passenger. Everyone has his own place in that table. And as I was sitting there waiting, watching everybody, the table fell down. The minute the table fell down, everybody was the same because there was no table. And even the bird on the street were picking up things. I felt I'm the same. So the unity you feel if you follow the Rumis and everybody else's thing, you don't have to go to psychedelic to get that because your attention moves from your left side to the right side. That is not. There's a clip, I forgot the lady who's a scientist. I sent that clip to my thing. When she had a stroke, She was Rumi. She was 100 times better than Rumi. She never had a psychedelic drug. She had a stroke. The left side of her brain stopped working. She felt in heaven. She says, this is Narva, what is it? Nirvana. She says, wow, Nirvana. Nirvana is something real. You don't have to go to the psychedelic to get that. So it's not, but I've seen whoever gets this psychedelic, even the drug is the people who don't know nothing about the religion or anything, they suddenly you see, becomes we all are one, we have to love one another, I say, what's going on? This is in our head right here. All we need to do, switch our attention from left side, which is a logic, number, this must be this must be this is right, this is wrong. Leave that, come in here, experience life right now, what it is, you're there.
So you mentioned meditation, you did the meditation the way Rumi did. So what's the difference between meditation Rumi did?
Okay, the difference, yes. Rumi doesn't have any mantra. He doesn't have any mantra. Rumi he says, you watch your thought. Do not identify with your thought. Just keep on watching it. And watch, when you're watching it, it gives you the trip. It goes from one point to another. This trip constantly happens to you, but you're not aware of it. But once you become aware of this trip, you say, God damn, what is it doing to me? What is it doing to me? And it won't leave you alone. It keeps doing it because it did it for 60 years. It did it for 50 years. For me, it did it for 70 years. So it does it. It's not something you can, but once you watch it, and then suddenly he sees that you're watching him. He leaves you. The minute he leaves you, you see it. You come right to, what do you call Narva? What is it called?
Observe an observer.
Yes, you come there. And that's what the Rumi does. So it doesn't have to.
So, when we're doing meditation, I do meditation. I start with breathing, and So my question is, Rumi didn't do such a breathing steps for the meditation.
Okay.
And body scanning.
No.
Blah, blah, blah.
No. Rumi, one thing he told me. We have pray. We call it namaz.
Yeah.
We have namaz. Rumi says namaz is 5 times a day. What does it mean? Means namaz is a certain ritual. He's telling me what he does. When people do this, what does it mean? What is this? Why are you doing this? It has no meaning. Does it have any meaning? The only thing this does, you look at your hand right here. And when you look, it may bring your attention from everywhere else to right here. And this is what the 23-year-old boy in Peru told me here, right here. Now, Rumi tells me, the Muslims do this 5 times a day. We do it all day long, which means he's always present. He's always present. That is, he doesn't go sit down someplace and do it. He always does it. So that's Rumi's meditation.
Rumi's meditation is more of the way we today's call it mindfulness.
Mindfulness. He's watching every movement of his action, anything he does in his head. So it's not a big deal. It's easy, but it's very difficult. It is Mother Ayahuasca on my first night showed me, hey, all of this thought coming in. You want to get out? This is the way to get out. But it won't leave you alone. But as you practice, as you keep watching, it will happen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.